Picture this. 30 years of careful decisions, sitting in sealed boxes, in 3 separate rooms of a house in Oregon. A man named Ed Mansell built that collection the slow way. One set at a time. Original Star Wars Lego. The kind they stopped making. Millennium Falcons. Death Stars. Boxes that came out when the movies first hit theaters and most people threw the packaging away. Ed kept everything. And when Ed got sick, really sick, the kind of sick where the bills arrive faster than the checks, his son Bryan made a decision. Not to throw the collection away. Not to panic sell it for nothing. To do it right. Find a legitimate store. Sign a proper agreement. Sell it carefully, and use that money to take care of his father. That's the whole plan. A son. A sick father. 30 years of careful collecting. And a signed contract with a business he had every reason to trust. The collection disappeared. And then the company sued Bryan for $1.3 million. Not the people who lost his collection. Bryan. The victim. People like Bryan. People who did everything right. I know how that sounds. Stay with me. Because this isn't a story about Lego. It never was. This is a story about something that's probably already sitting in your life right now, and you don't know it yet. If you're new here, this channel exists to show you the mechanisms shaping your life that nobody bothered to explain. Subscribe. What I'm about to show you doesn't end with Lego. Everyone is asking the wrong question. The internet wants to know who took the Lego. Was it the old franchise owners? The new ones? The corporate brothers with the matching villain mustaches? The mysterious U-Haul that the CEO swore didn't exist, right up until a photograph proved it was parked outside the store that night? Those are good questions. Coffeezilla spent 54 minutes on them. 5 million people watched in 24 hours. But I keep thinking about something quieter. Bryan did everything right. He found a reputable store. He signed a contract. He maintained documentation. He followed the process exactly the way responsible people are supposed to. And it still happened to him. So the real question isn't whether bricks and minifigs is corrupt. The real question is this: was Bryan ever truly protected? The moment he handed over that collection, was it ever really still his? Sit with that for a second, because the answer is going to change the way you think about almost everything you own. Let me show you the visible problem first. The one everyone can see. A man trusted a business with something irreplaceable. The business changed hands overnight. The thing disappeared. The company denied responsibility. And then, this is the part that made 5 million people stop scrolling. The company sued the victim. One comment under that video said it better than I could. It doesn't matter if it was $200,000 or $20,000. It wasn't theirs. That's the whole thing right there. But here's what that comment doesn't explain. Oh. How does a person hand something to a legitimate business, with a signed agreement, and end up with nothing? How does the victim become the defendant? How does a company look at a camera and deny the existence of a U-Haul that is literally parked in the photograph you are currently looking at? The answer isn't corruption. Or not only corruption. The answer is a mechanism. A legal, structural, completely normalized mechanism that most people never see until it's already happened to them. And we haven't even gotten to the scary part yet. Let me explain something most people skip over in this story because it sounds boring. Consignment. Bear with me. This is where everything actually lives. Consignment is when you give your property to someone else to sell on your behalf. You keep legal ownership. They keep physical possession. When it sells, they take a cut. It sounds safe. Best of both worlds. Here's the kitchen table version of what it actually means. You give your neighbor your car to sell. You trust your neighbor. You have a written agreement. They park it in their driveway and start showing buyers. Now imagine their landlord shows up one night and says the house has new owners. New owners walk in. Change the locks. Your neighbor is on the sidewalk at midnight. Your car is still in that driveway. Do you get it back? In theory, yes. You own it. But the new owner has never heard of you. Has no record of your car. The old neighbor, standing on the sidewalk, is too shaken to explain properly. And the new owner isn't asking questions. They're changing locks. 3 days later you show up. The new owner says, "What car?" That's consignment. That's what happens when the business holding your property changes hands faster than the paperwork can keep up. And here's what nobody tells you when you sign that agreement. This isn't a bug. It's a feature. Businesses transfer. Franchises change hands. Ownership shifts. And when they do, the person who trusted the business, the consignor, is almost always the last person anyone calls. Now here's the part one need you to feel personally. Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I don't consign Lego. This doesn't affect me. Let me ask you something. Do you have money in a bank? Do you use a storage unit? Do you keep files in a cloud service? Do you have crypto on an exchange? Do you have a subscription that auto-renews to a company that could be acquired tomorrow? Every single one of those is a version of the same arrangement. You are trusting a company to hold something that belongs to you. And the terms of what happens when that company changes hands, those terms are written in documents you never read, in language designed by lawyers whose job was not to protect you. 3 doors. Every one of them already in your life. Door 1. The one closest to home. Your bank. Not dramatic. Not, the bank collapsed. The small version. You have checking, savings, direct deposit, automatic payments. Your whole financial life flowing through one institution. That institution gets acquired. The systems merge. There's a glitch during the transition. Your automatic payment doesn't process. You get a late fee. Then a penalty. Then a mark on your credit report. You call. You get transferred 3 times. The 4th person sees the error but says it's handled by a different department. The different department doesn't have a direct number. Nobody stole from you. Nobody lied to you. The system that holds your money simply failed you in a small, quiet, completely legal way. And fighting it would cost more than absorbing it. Which is exactly what you do. Which is exactly what they're counting on. Door 2. The one that's been growing for years. The platform. You build something on a platform you don't own. A store. A following. A library of work. Years of investment, years of trust placed in a company whose terms of service you agreed to without reading. That company gets acquired. The algorithm shifts. Your account gets flagged by an automated system. Suspended. Your appeal goes into a queue. Nobody calls back. What you built is still there, technically. But you can't reach it. And the terms you agreed to, the ones you didn't read, give them broad latitude to do exactly what they're doing. You trusted a system that was never designed to be accountable to you. Door 3. The quiet one. The one that hits different at 2 a.m. The storage unit. You rent it for the things you're not ready to throw away. Documents. Old furniture. Your grandmother's jewelry. The facility gets bought by a larger company. Rates go up. You miss a payment, maybe by a few days, maybe the notification went to spam. Under the laws of most states, after a certain period of non-payment, the facility has the legal right to auction everything inside. Your grandmother's jewelry. Gone. Legally. It was in the agreement. Paragraph 14. In a font that was technically readable if you had the time and background to understand what you were agreeing to. Which most people don't. 3 doors. Every one a trap. Every one legal. Every one already in your life right now. And here's where it accelerates. Because those 3 doors, they all exist inside a larger structure that makes accountability almost impossible to find. Bricks and Minifigs is a franchise. That word matters more than anyone is saying out loud. A franchise isn't one company. It's a system where a parent company sells the right to operate under their brand to independent owners. Those owners run their own stores, sign their own agreements, hire their own people, but they carry the corporate name. So when something goes wrong, the old franchisee points at the new one. The new one points at corporate. Corporate points at the old one. Each one with lawyers. Each one with a paper trail designed to protect themselves. Not my problem. Not my problem. Not my problem. Until the responsibility falls through the floor. And Bryan, standing there with his signed agreement, his documentation, his 30 years of his father's careful collecting, is left holding nothing but a lawsuit. This is the franchise trap. It's not unique to Lego stores. It's in fast food chains, fitness clubs, tax preparation offices, the real estate company where you sign the paperwork on your house. Anywhere a brand name hides a web of separate. And then there's the mechanism nobody wants to say out loud. The legal system can be used as a weapon. Not by criminals. By corporations with enough money to litigate indefinitely. You don't sue someone because you expect to win. You sue them because the cost of defending against a lawsuit is so high that most people will simply give up and go away. Bryan was already out $50,000 to $80,000. Then came the $1.3 million lawsuit from the company that lost his property. Even if every single fact is on his side, can he afford to fight a company with a team of corporate attorneys? Most people can't. And the company knows that. 3 mechanisms. 3 traps. All legal. All invisible until you're already inside. If this is landing somewhere personal, if one of those 3 doors just reminded you of something in your own life, drop it in the comments right now. And hit like. It takes 2 seconds and it tells me this kind of work is worth doing. I want to come back to Ed. I want you to picture those 3 rooms. Sealed boxes stacked carefully. Labels facing out. 30 years of one man's love for something most people threw away. The Millennium Falcon he bought the year his son was born. The Death Star he found at a garage sale and couldn't believe was still sealed. Each box placed carefully, moved carefully, stored carefully. That's what was in those rooms. Not an investment portfolio. Not a strategy. A life. And when that life needed to be converted into something that could pay the bills, Bryan did everything right. He documented. He signed. He followed the process. It still happened. And the moment he tried to fight back, the company sued him for $1.3 million. People like Bryan. People who did everything right. People who trusted the system because the system is supposed to work. That's who this happens to. Not careless people. Not people who skipped steps. Not people who should have known better. People who did everything right. I'm not going to sell you a solution. I don't have one. Not a clean one. And honestly, be suspicious of anyone who does. You know the type. The guy who watched the same story and his first thought was how to monetize your fear of it. The newsletter that promises to teach you how to protect your assets for $197 a month. The podcast that ends every episode with a promo code. They're using a version of the same mechanism I just described. Different product. Same trap. What I can give you is one question. The question nobody asks at the front end of these agreements. What happens to my property if this business changes hands? Not if. When. Most agreements answer that question somewhere in paragraph 14, in language that defaults to protecting the company. Knowing that doesn't always let you change it. But it means you stop being surprised when it happens. And it means you stop blaming the person who trusted the system, when the system did exactly what it was designed to do. Yours. That's the word this whole video lives on. We use it like it's a wall. Like it holds regardless of who's standing on the other side holding what belongs to you. But what those 3 sealed rooms in Oregon showed us, underneath all the drama, the U-Haul, the mustaches, the 5 million views, is that yours is not a wall. It's a relationship between you and the system holding what belongs to you. And like every relationship, it only works when both sides are held accountable. Not whether they can take it. They can. But whether the world we've all agreed to actually makes them give it back. People like Bryan are still waiting for that answer. Sit with that. If this shifted something, if you came here for Lego drama and left thinking about something in your own life, tell me in the comments. I read every one. Hit like if this was worth your time. And the video on your screen right now, watch it. It picks up exactly where this one ends. Same mechanism. Different story. And the part that surprised me most is the part nobody's talking about. I'll see you there.